to a new video with our home in the forest. Let's meet in our garden today. It's October 2nd. We are here in zone 9B, I would say, from the maps in terms of hardiness. I just removed one line of corn and I see if I freeze the kernels or how I do. I gave the stalks to the chickens. They are quite happy about a little scratching. Okay guys, it's October 3rd and it's the first time I'm actually pruning my tomatoes, and for just one reason. It is becoming quite moist in the night now, so I feel that the leaves trapping moisture is not the best. So far I have just let it go for terms of lack of time, basically. Also, there are a lot of new sprouts and some fruits are lying on the ground. That needs to be taken care of. As we can see here, I have not done anything to my tomato plants. I have not cut suckers this year. I have not cut out any leaves. And they are kind of taking care of themselves. The old leaves are falling off. We're just doing that now not to trap moisture and because they're still growing. Otherwise, okay, if you want to grow 5 tomatoes more, if you want to have the biggest tomatoes in the neighborhood, you can prune suckers, you can, but for me it's not worth it. Look at this branch. Wait, this one we need to take care of. They are falling off now. We would not need to do that. You see that most of the old leaves are falling off already and have been decomposing. So the plant is really good at maintaining itself. Also, I'm not a big fan of cutting out leaves because it's the plant's solar panels. So only now when they're like really not doing anything for your plant, we can cut them. But if you cut too many leaves, how is your plant going to survive? If you are in a colder climate, you can be thinking about now cutting the top of the plant, cutting the suckers to put the remaining energy into the remaining fruit. I will honestly see how far I can drag this, and I also want to overwinter them, so I will then at the end just cut them back and cover them in mulch. Because I am actually becoming tired of growing plants from seedlings. Or even from seed. So wherever I'm seeing fruit now, I'm trying to make them hang without touching any old leaves. Again, if you're following for longer, or if you're new here, just to let you know, this is chaos gardening. You will not be here for a well-maintained garden. But we make it work. Guys, today we are preparing our compost. We haven't touched our compost in months, and there are basically 2 times per year that we will do something around the garden or planting or whatever. This is in spring and in autumn. Now we are preparing our garden for the winter season, for the winter crops, for vegetables that are growing throughout the winter in our zone here in 9B probably. and we have very, very rarely frost, so there is a lot we still can grow. We also built a planter box down there at our new barbecue area, so that is also something that we want to fill with compost. So it's a lot of compost I want to go through today, and we have a lot. If you are not new here, you know this. It's our compost sieve, and it is also our separation for the chickens. We just used it, but we attached a second piece of metal wire, metal fencing to make it smaller because I had a lot of stones passing through. Of course, your compost pile is a dirty business, but if you're growing your own garden, it totally makes sense to collect your scraps, your food scraps, your toilet paper rolls, whatever you have leftovers, leaves, in a pile that can rot down for you to use the material in your garden instead of buying bags and bags of new compost every spring. Here we want to make an herbs garden to maybe use with the barbecue. Maybe I also add some succulents. And you see, this is like hugel culture inspired, and now we fill the compost. I decided to make one extra bucket just for the chickens to play because there are so many worms inside, and then I take a break for today. I have a lot of other tasks to do, and this is quite exhausting, and it's not like time pressing, so I will just every day do a little bit compost activity. It's nice and fresh today, so I'm making a bit more compost. Today mostly for my Brussels sprouts. I have been putting some already in the garden, and some are in my greenhouse box. The ones in the garden don't do well. I actually don't see them. Is this one? Nah, it's broken here. I had been planting them next to the watering. Like this could be one. But yeah, they're not doing great. The ones in my box I will put them in bigger planting pots that they can develop a proper root system. I will do that now with fresh compost, and then they can go to the garden when they're a bit bigger. There they are, I think it's 3. I will separate them, each in their own pot, to have proper roots before I transfer them to the garden maybe. And maybe one pot just for the chickens again. They are fighting. I mean, they always have dry food there, but that's not entertaining enough maybe. I need to find an even finer mesh. I use a kitchen fork to kind of break them apart. Drop them here. They're very fragile, even though they are already a bit bigger. They have a very thin base. First one. Another pot. Ooh, who are you? Can we go closer? Oh, hello, buddy. What do we do with him? I mean, how did he even... Hello, friend. Somebody. Exciting Brussel sprouts planting. Anybody else here? Ay, ay, ay.
Did you know that strawberries are so super easy to propagate? They are making these tiny babies kind of shooting out from the main plant, and they are trying to reach some soil. And I saw my friend just putting them in soil to control where she could plant them, that they're not just sprouting out and like stealing each other's space. So that's what I'm doing here.
And now I continue my compost mission. I am trying to remove all the good compost from this bin and then move everything from this bin to the other, to turn it over and to have more compost underneath there. But I really want to get everything out from there, and I need it in the garden. So if you didn't know, yeah, corn and pumpkins are heavy feeders, so we need to add a bit more nutrients. It already helps when you are having companion planting with beans, for example. They can climb up the stalks of the corn, and they give back nutrients to the ground once they decompose, and also what they get from the earth with their roots. So that is a good companion, but I also want to heavily feed my ground there with some fresh compost. So I will fill it up now with compost to also like move my compost. And probably next week I take you all to the market. So I try to go to the market, but it's only every 2 weeks. So the day was correct, it's Monday, but only next week. So I have 1 more week to prepare my beds. It's not so bad. I still need to take out some of the corn. Can already plant some peas and beans maybe. And then next week we take some little plantlings. There are some aphids, some bug poop. See that? Let's see if we can still use them. So this is the bin. The second one is the one where also the human manure from our cabin goes. There's zero smell, like literally zero smell. It's so good, like works really, really, really well. Guys, life is good. I just got my market haul, a selection of cabbages, brassicas, salads, onion, and I stay with my statement from my spring garden. For my size garden, it is not worth buying seeds. So if you start saving your seeds, that's already a great alternative. But then starting seeds and all this logistics around it, here in Portugal. 4 euros. Look at the amount of plants. But I don't have the hassle to start all these. And I can directly put everything in the soil. Especially now, seed starting in the soil directly would still be hard because we're still waiting for the first rain this winter, this autumn. It is approaching mid of October and we still didn't have any rain, like one day or so. But here, all the onions, 20 red and so on. And I think we put them in between the other plants and cabbages because they help against pests. 20. We got red cabbage, carrots, and 12 salads.
Do you need to put some compost in the land already?
So I show you. It has just started raining consistently and I feel this is the perfect time to put in more seeds for winter. For example, these garlics that I just found in the bottom of our onion and garlic drawer. And because the soil now will be moist and rained on the next week, I guess, they can put roots. This is our field. And I have some almost dried up. Whoop. Put them in the soil, just like this. I like to companion plant, so they just go into the soil with the other plants. They can shoot up in between. And here are little plantlings. I think the peas are not good, but the Brussels sprouts will go to the ground now. There we go. Let this be your reminder that your garden does not need to be pretty in order to produce food for you and your family. Look at these tomato vines. Brown leaves. There's nothing pretty about our tomato garden. But look at the amount of tomatoes we are still having here. It's sprouting back again. I know they don't love rain. They will probably die back this week because we have a lot of rain. But it doesn't matter. And here, our wild, expanding strawberries. And in between, we're having aubergines, peppers, the new field. And I'm basically just checking where I have space right now. And that's where we put the new plantlings of plants that we want to grow. There are beans. My child had an experiment. The Brussel sprout went there because there is an empty patch. Another Brussels sprout made it here between the strawberries. And one there where I took out an old broccoli. And now I'm thinking I quickly put in some peas because it is really nice and rainy the whole week. They might be able to sprout because they did not love the planting box. They are molding. This was such a cute investment. First it looks a bit unnecessary, but let me show you. This is actually really, really handy.
Thank you all for watching and see you next week when we are renovating our house.